Good morning, this is Fitness Support, and today we are going to do yet another webinar on the core modules. So we would be covering all of the things available in the core modules at a go, and then we will be dealing with the queries once the webinar has been finished up. So to start off with, first of all, you need to log in to the URL that we have given with. In my case, this is default.fedina.org, and then you need to log in to the credentials given, which will redirect you to the dashboard. But before login, I would let you know that there are basically four kinds of users: the admin user, the employee user, the parent user, and the student user. The admin has the sole privileges of handling the application. The parent and the student has a limited number of privileges which cannot be varied, but when it comes to the employee can have a varied set of privileges based upon the task he has been assigned. So we would be using the admin credentials to explore what all things can be done in Fedina. So in a usual case, for the first time when you will be logged in, the admin account is created of its own, and the credentials are admin, you being the username, and admin123 being the password. Once you have logged into your account, you will be redirected to a page which is called the dashboard. In this dashboard, you need to do the settings first of all. So to start off with, you need to do the general settings part. In general settings, normally we tell the application that what all excuse me, but that what all things that we have in our college or institution. So to start off with, we need to tell the application about our school or college name, then the address and the phone and so on. So then if your attendance type is daily, you can use up the daily, and if your attendance type is subject wise, you can also use subject wise based upon the preference of your institution. Then comes the finance year start date and finance year end date. You need to enter the finance year start date and end date respectively. Then comes starting receipt number. In this particular box, the receipt number that you will be writing up will be the receipt number of the first receipt generated from this application, and the rest of the things will be an auto incremented value of the one that you will be entering up here. Then comes the language. You can use the language available in Fedina. Fedina is available in this many languages covering Hindi, Marathi, and Portuguese too. Then comes the currency type. So the currency type in which your application deals with, in which your version of Fedina deals with, is to be entered. Like we deal with the dollar, so we can mention it as dollar and so on. Then comes the upload logo. So using Fedina, you will be able to upload your logo on this. So the logo that you will be uploading up here will be available for your login page, your logout page, in the receipts that you will be generating. And then comes the network state. You can put the network state as online or offline. As it's a part of the old code, so we do not use it much often. Then comes the include grading system. In include grading system, all the grading system that you have can be used up here. Just like if you have normal grading systems only, you need not to check up any of this. But if you have any grading systems like CC, CWA, and GPA, you can check up any of these to check up or to have a clear examination from the application. Then comes the Moodle URL. If you want to integrate your application with the Moodle URL, so all you need to do, just write the Moodle URL here, which will integrate your Moodle with this. And then comes the theme. So theme can be put up as orange, black, green, yellow, blue, or gray as per your choice. Then comes the enable auto increment student admission number. In enable auto increment student admission number, you need to enter the admission number of the first student that you will be admitting from your application, and the rest of the admission number of the students would be the auto incremented value of the one that you will be entering for the first one. Let us say that if for my school DPS, I have my admission number of the first student is DPS 1, and so the rest of the things will be DPS 2, the rest of the students will be DPS 2, DPS 3, DPS 4, and so on. The same goes up with the employee number. Then comes the news comment moderation. In news comment moderation, you will be asked to, whenever this part is checked on, this news comment moderation is checked on, every comment that would be coming up from the application, from the users in the application, will have to get filtered up by the admin itself. So whenever an admin puts up a news and the users comment up, the admin has to accept or reject a comment based upon which the application would decide whether this is to be published or not. Then comes the enable sibling. So if you want to keep a track of all the sibling data in your application, you need to enable this part from here. Then comes the first time login change password. Whenever the first time login change password has come up, whenever a user will be logging as the name specifies, whenever a user will be logging into his account, to his or her account for the first time, he will be asked to change his password. As in a usual scenario, the username of a employee is its employee number, and the password is the employee number followed by 123. And for a student, the username is student, the admission number, and the password being the admission number followed by 123. So generally we recommend our users to use this first time login change password, so that these default passwords can be changed up in the first time login itself. Then comes the enable OAuth. In enable OAuth, you will be able to access your Google account. So once you have signed up, you have checked up here, you will be getting a link where you will be able to sign in using your own Google account. So in that case, you need not to remember your Fedina username and password. Only Google password and Google email will be helpful for you to log into your account. This is all about the general settings part. Now we will be moving up to the rest of the things like the manage student category. So manage student category can be of great use at some point when you want to have your students categorized into different divisions. Let us say you want to have some kind of facility for these categories, like local students might be availing some discounts and so on. So in such a case, you need to create some category here, and whenever you are trying to do an admission of a student, this category you need to select from the list of the categories that you have entered up here, and then the student will be categorized into that particular category that you will be creating. So as I have created a lot many categories here, like local, non-local staff. To do so, all you need to do is just click upon this box, type the name of the category here, and click on save. So on saving it, this would be saved. So this is how you need to enter the student category and all. Then comes the add admission additional date. In add admission additional date, you will be able to add some additional details for your students. So let us say you want some extra data of students and you do not have the appropriate field for it in Fedina, like the passport number or the medical history of students. So you can just type the name of the additional detail here, mark it as mandatory if you want the information regarding this for the students to be entered mandatorily. And then comes the input method. You need to select the text box, text area, select box, checkbox, and so on, based upon the preference of the input field. Then comes the admission agent. You need to like the way I put the admission agent and research in town, so you can enter all the things up there. So now you would like to create some courses for your application. To do so, all you need to do is just go upon manage course or batch, select upon manage course, and from this you can click new. You need to type the grade here or the course name. Let us say the course name I'm putting up, it has here grade 3. You can, section name is not mandatory, so you can opt to put it or not. Then comes the code, and then the grading system there here. So based upon the selection that you made from the general settings, it would be coming up here, whether it is normal, GPA, CW, CC, and then the batch name. You can put it as, let us say, A 2013. So this way you will be able to create your course. Once the courses has been created, now it's time to add some more batches into it. The first initial batch that we have created is already done here with the name of G3A2013, and then if you want to create some more batches for this, you can also do so by using the new button here. Here, whenever you are going to create a new batch in the second part, you will be able to see the import previous batch subjects and import previous batch master fees. In import previous batch subjects, you will be able to, if you have created some subjects in your previous batches, like the one that in which we have A2000, if you would have created some batches, the same subjects already there in that batch, and we would be able to import those subjects from the batch. The same goes up for the master fees too. So this is how you need to create your batch with these two options: import previous batch subjects and import previous batch master fees. Now we'll know how these subjects can be checked up. So to manage your subjects, you need to click upon select batch, select your batch there, and add a normal subject. If you want to add a normal subject, you can add it by using the name, the code, the weekly classes, and the examinations. And then and whether if it's a elective subject, so first of all you need to create an elective group here. And once the elective group has been created, you can start stuffing subjects into it. So moreover, once the subjects have been created from the elective group, you will be able to assign students into those particular batches, into those particular subjects. This was all about the settings part. Now we would be quickly cruising upon how the student details can be checked up. So to check up the student details, you need to just type the name of the student from here, and then based upon the search that you have made, you will be suggested some list of matches, and based upon this you can select to this particular person, to the particular link, and go to the profile of the person. Moreover, if you want to have an advanced search, then just go to advanced, type the name of the person, or if you know the admission number, you can enter it. Let us say that you sometimes in an institution we are asked to make some weird searches, like if you want to make all the list of all the persons who have the blood group B positive. So this can be done using the advanced search. So let's go to advanced search, click upon the blood group as B positive, and hit the search button. This way you will be able to get all the list of the persons, get the list of all persons who have B positive as a blood group. This is how you can go to advanced search and all. Now let us go to the admission part. We will be admitting a sample student up here and check how this thing works up. In admission number, first of all, this first step of step 1 or the of admission starts off with the admission number. As we have enabled the auto increment student admission number, so as you can see that current admission of the admission number of the current student is the auto incremented value of the one that we have entered previously. Then comes the first name, and then the middle name and the last name are to be entered. And then the course and batch to which she is in. Let us say she is in the newly created batch called grade G3, and then the date of birth is to be entered. Then the gender, whether she is male or female, is to be entered, and then the blood group. Preferably the blood group of the person is to be entered, and then having filled all of the details one by one, you will be asked to click upon the photo and all, and ending up with the save and proceed button will lead you to this admission 2. So here, as you've enabled the sibling part from the settings, you will be asked to enter a sibling data if of this person. So if this particular student has some siblings studying in the institution, so you can just go upon there and start copying the keeping a track of all the siblings there. So let us say that this particular person has a sibling with the name of Suman. So on clicking Suman or Sumit, so on clicking Sumit, this parent data of Sumit will get copied to this particular person. So this is how the siblings part deals with. Or if this particular person does not have a sibling studying there, so you can just write upon the skip part and type the first name, and then the rest of the settings are to be done. And then on clicking upon finish, this data will be entered. So the step 2 has completed. In step 3 we add the emergency contact, and then the rest of the details like the education details are to be entered along in step 3 too. Then comes the admission agent. So let us say that in the additional fields that you have entered these many things. So, and two things like the resides in town and the passport number are only mandatory. So you need to enter this data, otherwise you won't be able to proceed further. And on clicking save and proceed, your profile for the particular student that you are going to enter has been finished up. So this is how the sample admission has to be done. Now coming back to the examinations part. So as in like the rest of the modules, examinations has also needs to go to the settings first of all. So we will be starting up with the settings here. On clicking settings, we come across these three options like set grading levels, ranking levels, and the class designations. So on clicking set grading levels, you will be able to add some grades. So these grades sets can be made common or can also be specific to the specific batches. So if you want to add something to a specific batch, so you need to just select upon the particular batch and start adding grades to it. Now for the current person, it's set in common. Then comes the ranking levels. In ranking levels, you will be asked to make some ranking levels for your batch. So let us say you have some ranking levels, like if a student scores this much marks or a below a threshold mark, then he's termed as failed. So these kind of criterias are created in the ranking levels. So let us have a look upon how all these ranking levels for this particular batch has been created. So as per this, in the course UKG, ranking level failed has been assigned to all the students who score at most 40 marks in at least 2 subjects. So this is how this particular course decides how a student can be termed as failed. Similarly, when it comes to the past students, on seeing the ranking level passed, we have for this particular course, every student who has scored at least 40 marks and at minimum 4 subjects would be classified as passed. So this is how the ranking levels are to be done. Then comes the rest of the settings, like the class settings and the CC settings. CC settings are the one which are primarily needed by CBSE institutions, so we need not to use those settings right now. Then comes the class designations. In class designations, you need to select a course and then mark the different class designations, like the name of the class designation and the marks are to be entered. Then we should start with the exam management part. In exam management, you will be able to see a course. So let us say you want to create an exam and manage all of extra things like entering of the marks, scheduling of the mm, result, scheduling of the examination, and publishing the results and so on. So this can be done using the create exam part from the exams homepage. So to do so, you need to select a course. And then the batch you need to create exams for. Let us say you want to create some new exam for it, then you need to click upon new. Otherwise, if this is a old batch that it is in this current example, so you will be able to see all the list of examinations that has been created for this batch till now. On clicking new, you need to type the name of the examination. Let us say you want to create an examination with the name of Surprise 100, and the exam time is definitely marks. So on clicking upon this, you will be able to see the maximum mark as something, and then the minimum mark is to be entered. So as you can see that we have created a number of subjects here, then the maths, English, general knowledge, science, and ODI and math. So for this you need to enter the maximum marks and the minimum marks, and then the start time and end time for each of this. So once you have scheduled the examination for each of these subjects here, you need to enter the start time and the end time for each of them, and then you can select the save button. So this way your examination will be scheduled for the dates as you have been entering here. So then comes the last column of this table, which says do not create. As you can see, the do not create button helps you, as it says, not to create examination for the subject that you are in. So let us say that we have some subjects in our school which are which have examinations, which do not have any examinations. For those, you can just go to the do not create option and On clicking this, examinations won't be created for this particular subject. So this way, this examination has been scheduled. Now, if you want to publish the exam schedule made, you will be able to type click the link here. On clicking the link, the exam schedule will be published. So if you have some SMS notifications done, this will and automatically an SMS will be sent to the parents and the students stating that the examination has been published. Moreover, whenever an examination has been published, this would also be visible in the calendar of the school. So as you can see that I have published an examination on 25th, that's today. So this will be coming up in the blue screen, blue dot for the particular date. So having entered all the exam schedule, now it's time to enter some data for this particular exam. So if you want to enter some data, you need to click upon the subject here, and for each of the students you need to enter some marks. And hit upon save. So whenever you are done with creation of marks, you need to enter the marks like this for all of the subjects, going into each of these links here for each of the subjects, and after having done this, you need to publish the exam result here. So if you want to publish the exam result here, so again an SMS will be going up for all of the students and their parents saying that the examination results has been published. So once this is published, the flash message will be notifying this, which says result has been published. Then comes the generate reports. So if you want to generate the reports for your students, then you need to select the course here. And then generate reports. So once you have generated reports, then only the data for the students will be coming up in the report center. So you can generate the reports using the same here, and then comes the report center, where you will be able to see various reports like the exam wise report, subject wise reports, grouped exam reports, and so on. Most of the reports available here are not only the graphical as well as the statistical report, are not only the statistical but rather the graphical report too. So having done with the examinations, now let's go up onto the timetable part. So in timetable, first of all, you need to create some weekdays. To create weekdays, you need to click upon create weekdays and set the weekdays, which you can set it as common or you can set it as specific to a specific batch by using this here. So after having set the weekdays, now it's time to create some class timings. So you need to click upon set class timings, and on selecting the class timings set. So for the first time when you will be using it, you won't be having any class timing set here. So you need to create some class timing sets using the new button here. First of all, you will need to type the class timing here, the name of the class timing, let us say. And on clicking class timings, you will be able to add some class timings here. This is how the class timings are to be dealt up with. So once this class timing set has been made, you will be able to assign this class timing sets to different batches. So let us say this class, you have the class timing set as 0001, and you want to assign this particular class timing set to the available batch here. So you can just click upon this particular batch and hit upon the relevant arrow. So this way, class timing 0001 has been assigned to 9/8/2012. So what all class timings that the class timing set 0001 has will be available for the batch 9A 2012 from now on. Now, having done the create weekdays part and set class timings, if you want to create the timetable here, you can do so by going to this particular part here from the start and end date and hitting create button. This way you will be able to create a timetable, and further if you want to edit a timetable at a later part, you will be able to do so by clicking upon and clicking edit entries. So here you need to select a batch first of all. So having selected the batch, you will be able to enter all the data for them. This is all about how the timetable can be dealt up with. Now if you want to view a timetable for the batch, you can always view. So if you have some timetable, then this will be available for your students. So this is all about how the timetables can be dealt up with. Now we will be moving up to the attendance part. In attendance part, you have added the attendance register and the attendance report. So you need to click upon the attendance register and then the batch. So as you can see that the today's date is been shown up in the yellow column here. So you can mark the student as absent or present for the current date. So if you want to do so, you need to select upon this particular cell as if you want to mark Kusmit as absent for today, that is Monday 25. So you need to click upon here, type the name of the region, and then whether it's forenoon or afternoon, and then hit upon the add button. Now Kusmita has been marked as absent. Then comes attendance report. You have to mark this batch. You need to mark this mode as monthly. So the mode that we have is of two types. Again, it's monthly or overall. So if you want to see the monthly report, you can see so, but if you want to see the overall report, you will be able to, you need to click upon the overall part here, and then the mode is to be entered. This way you will be able to enter all the reports. Like moreover, if you want to filter the students who have a particular percentage, like let us say if you want to filter the student with all students who have less than 75%, then you need to try the 75 here. Let us say we have some data for 95% students, so I need to write 95%. So all the students who have 95% will be listed up in this particular filtered data table. Moreover, if you want to have some more filters like the above filter or exactly filter or below filter, you can also do so by using these options from here. Yeah, Ravichandran, it's possible, but we will be dealing with the queries like this at the end of the webinar. So you will be able to see the list of all students who have scored a percentage of 95 below this. So now this was all about the attendance part. So as you can see that in this particular data table, a student Abhishek with a percentage of 95 less than 95%, that's 94.16%, has been entered here. So this is how the attendance and the timetable are to be dealt with. Next comes the human resources. So just like any other module, you need to do up the setting first of all. Just like any other settings, we would be asked to do some of these HR part. Let us say that like the any other module, as we do the settings, start of the settings part, in HR module also we need to do the settings same. So we need to click upon the settings. Now we should start up with the add employee category. In add employee category, you need to type the name here, and then the prefix. So here you will be able to create an category. Now comes the employee position, where you need to enter some positions here, and then the and list upon which category it belongs to, followed by the entering of the grades and the departments. So we need to have some departments in our institution, so you need to enter the department and the department code. This would create another department for your HR module. Then comes the payroll category. When you click upon add payroll category, add payroll new category, so you will be able to create some payroll categories for your employees. So moreover, let us say that you want to have a category in the payroll of your employees with the name of year-end bonus 2 and the percentage 25 and let us make it as 10%, and this year-end bonus 2 must be the 10% of the basic pay. So to do so, I need to just select upon basic pay of the percentage of per here, and then it's definitely an earning and not deduction, so I need not to select it here. So on clicking upon hit create, I'll be able to create the payroll categories here. So this way, every person who has been sanctioned a particular basic pay will be assigned some category here. So this was all about how you need to create some payroll categories. Now let us say that you want to add some bank details of some of your employees. So you need to you need to click upon the add bank detail link up from here, and then type the name of the details, like we have the bank account number and bank name. So you can also create the same for your employees. Moreover, like the way we have done in the student additional detail, if you want to add some employee additional detail too, you can do so by clicking upon the name here link box here, and then the input method, the text box, the text area, select box or checkbox, and this would complete the process of making these settings for the HR. So once you have done with the settings part, you are to do the employee management. So here you can admit employees, or you can make an employee subject association. We will be adding an sample employee here. So to do so, you need to click upon employee admission, and then the first name is to be entered. Like, let us say we have entered the name of the first employee as the middle name, and the last name are to be entered. The date of birth are to be entered, and then the department she is from, the category that we have created in the HR part will be coming up here, and then the position for the particular category will be coming. So you need to enter the rest of the data so that you will be able to have a foolproof profile of your employee along with the user photo. The step 2 includes the addition of the home address and the office address and the contact details. Going to the step 3 asks you to enter the bank account number and bank name. That's the additional detail that we created from the HR settings, and then comes the additional details that we have entered for the employee. So you need to enter some data for the employee additional detail which are mandatory. Now this is the most important part of the employee admission, where you are giving your employee the basic privileges to do a particular task. So let us say that this particular employee who is being admitted is actually a librarian. So you can just go up on the librarian part and click up save. So every library related data will be available for this employee. Now you need to enter the reporting manager to which this particular employee is to report to. So on clicking upon this particular employee name, this will be coming up as selected manager, and on clicking save and proceed, this reporting manager will be saved for the employee. Now it's time to enter the payroll of the employee. So to do so, you need to type the basic pay as something, and as the rest of the values that I have created from the settings part is related to the basic pay. Some are 10%, some are 20%, and so on. So the rest of the payroll categories or the items has been created on its own. So on clicking upon finish, I will be able to create the basic profile of the employee. So this is how the profile can be created for the employee. Going back to the rest part of the employee management, we have the employee subject association. In employee subject association, we generally map the students to that of the subject. We map the batch to that of the subject for a teacher. Let us say that you want to mark, so for grade 7 section 1 batch, you have this many subjects up here, and you want to mark in a certain number of teachers to teach English for this batch. So to do so, you need to select the batch and then the subject as English, and then the department here from which the teachers are to be picked up, and then on clicking upon assign, that particular person will be assigned to this to teach. So as per the current scenario that we have here, so for the batch grade 7 section 1 and subject English, Pathak Prem and Rajesh belonging to the academics department are allotted. So this is how the employee management is to be done. Now going back to the employee leave management. So in leave management we have the 4 links like the add leave types, attendance register, attendance report and reset leave. So you need to start off with the add leave types. In add leave types we have some different leave names like CL and EL and all. Then we need to enter the leave code and then the maximum leave count and let the application know whether this particular leave type has the carry forward facility or not. If it has the carry forward facility, then the leaves will be carried up to the next period. Then comes attendance register. Attendance register, we need to select the department. As in academics, you will be able to see, as we have some list of employees there, you will be able to see the register there. So if you want to mark some of these employees as absent, you need to select upon the particular cell there. As today, if I want to mark Miss Dorothy as absent for today, that's Monday 25, so I need to select upon this. That's the way we've done it for the students, and select the leave type from it and then the reason for absence. Then we have the attendance report, which is similar to the one that we have seen in for the students. So that's how the employee leave management works up here. Now if you want to create the payslip of an employee, you can do it by making an individual payslip creation of each of the employees. Then you have the one-click payslip generator. So if you want to individually make the payslip of all the employees, so you need to select upon the department here and the person to whom you want to enter details for. So this way, once you have entered the basic pay and the rest of the things are auto calculated. So on clicking create, the salary slip for this particular employee has been generated. So this is how you need to create the pay slip of the employees. So moreover, if you want to have a pay slip generation of all the employees at a go, so you can click upon one click pay slip generation, and on clicking one click pay slip generation, you will be generator, you will be able to generate the pay slip of all the employees for the month. Moreover, if you at a certain point of time you realize that was a mistake that was committed, so if you want to revert the operation, you can use the one click payslip revert to revert the last payslip generated act. So if you want to search an employee, then you can click upon employee search, and on clicking upon it, you will be able to see all the employees there. Then moreover, if you want to see the employee payslip, you can just the department wise payslip. So you need to select upon the department here, and then on viewing it, you will be able to view all the payslip for the employees. So this was all about the HR part. Now we are moving up onto the finance part. In finance, we have too many links up here like the fees, category, transactions, donations. Now we will be moving up to each of these things in detail. So to start up with the fees, we have this many links like the create fees here, schedule fee collection, collect the fees, and fee structure. So first of all, you need to start up with the create fees. In create fees, we create master category first of all. So to create a master category, you need to click upon the create category link from here, and then the name of the category, and then the description, and then you need to select the batch to which this master category is to be affected. Once you've created the categories, now it's time to create some particulars into that category. To do so, you need to select upon the create particulars link here, type the name of the particular, like tuition fees or the sports fees, and select to which all category this is to be affected, and hit upon the create after entering the amount. So this would create the particulars for you. Moreover, while creating particulars, please note that these mandatory fields are to be entered, like the name, amount, and the fee category. Next comes the discount part. So if you want to give some discounts for some students, so you can just click upon select discount type and give the relevant discounts for the students. Like the name and the discounts. This is how the categories can be dealt up with. Next comes the schedule fee collection. So once the categories have been done, particulars has been created. Now if you want to create the fee collection of students, so you need to click upon create fee collection. Select the category here for which the fee collection is to be created, and then the fee collection name, and now I'm clicking upon to this. Let us say I'm marking this name as November end collection, and I'm clicking upon create. The fee collection will be created. Moreover, you can view different fee collection here from the view link here. And then comes the fee structure. So if you want to see the fee structure of different students, you can click upon the fee structures here. Type the name of the student and see the fee structure available for him by selecting the different fee collections available for him. Then comes the fee defaulters. So if you want to see all the fee defaulters for a course, so you can go to the course here, select the batch and the fee collection date, and with the table that's here, you will be able to pay the fees for the students here using the pay fees link from here. Then comes the fee imports. Moreover, you have created some, let us say you have created some different fee collections, and you want a certain list of fee collection to be applicable for the students. So this can be done using the fee imports. So if I'm selecting the particular student, and on selecting, I am selecting a limited number of fee collections. So this fee collection that you will be creating, that you will be selecting up here, will only be applicable for the student selected here. And for when you are making a defaulters list for the rest of the fee collections, like year start and collection 1, this particular student won't be available in that list. So this is how the fee collections works. Fee imports works. So this is all about the finance part, the fees part. Now we will move to the rest of the finance part, like the category. So in category, you will be able to create different finance categories, like the normal categories. Some are inbuilt and some you need to create of your own, like donation fee, hostel instant fee, inventory, library, salary, transport, and are the ones that are already created built in, and the rest of the things are to be created as it's a finance category of depending upon the institution. Now comes the transactions. In transaction, again you have some different links, like the add expense, add income, report, compare transactions, and revert transactions. So if you want to add the expense, you can click upon the add expense link from here, type the name of the title and the amount and the category in which the expense comes up, like inventory category 1 or expense 1, 2, 3, and so on. And then if you want to add the income, you need to click upon add income button from here, and then you need to enter the category in which it is. Then comes the report. So in report, you will be able to see the transaction report for a person. So you can select the start date and the end date and display report. So what all transactions are done from the selected start date to the selected end date will be coming up here, and this will be a graphical as well as statistical data of representation of the data present. Then comes the compare transaction. In compare transaction, you will be able to see the comparison between two different periods. So you'll be having a select start date for the period 1 and select start date and date for the period 2. So you will be able to see a graphical representation of the data present in these two particular periods. Now next comes the reverted transactions part. In reverted transactions, you will be able to see all the transactions that has been reverted for a particular date. So let us say that I want to enter a date, and for this particular date I want to see all the reverted transactions. So I will be able to do so by using the advanced link from here and entering the start date and end date. Let us say I've entered the start date at this and the end date at this. So on clicking upon search, I'll be able to see the reverted transactions from this start date to the end date. So this is how the reverted transactions can be seen. So this was all about the fees part. Now we will moving to the rest of the small things like the news and event creation. So on clicking upon news, you will be able to see this page here. So if you want to add some news here, so you can just click upon the add here, type the name of the news and the content and click upon publish news. So this way your news will be published. Moreover, the students are welcome to have some comments on their news. So as you have enabled the news comment moderation from this link, from the settings part, every comment that would be coming from the users will be moderated by the admin, and based upon the input given by the admin, whether accept or reject, the news will be published on the same. Next comes the event creation. So if you want to create some events for your institution, let us say annual function and all, so you need to select the start date and end date for the events and the title and the description, and specify whether the event is a holiday or the event is common to all. So you can do so by clicking upon the create event part here. So if the event is common to all, then this will be, or if it's a holiday, this will be coming up in the calendar itself. So this was all about the creation of events, the creation of news, and all the core modules. This completes the webinar on core modules today. As we have reached the end, now we would be dealing up with the queries one by one.